Hey everybody, it's Scott Sandler here for HypnoThoughts Live. I am here to do another one of our wonderful speed dating conversations we're doing with all the pre and post conference presenters that give you the opportunity to, it's just like speed dating. You get a couple of minutes just to get to know the person and find out if there's interest there. That way you can sort of just expedite the homework and figure out what the best pre or post conference workshops are for you. And I'm here, of course, with Matt Bradley. Matt, how are you?
Well, I'm very well now. I've sorted out how to talk and actually be heard and to see you. I'm very good, thank you. Just finished a long day. It's coming up to 7 o'clock in France, so and a very cold day as well. So glad to be in the warmth.
Yeah, it's chilly over there right now.
Yeah, really chilly. I've just spotted there's we live about 4 hours away from Spain, so a 4-hour drive away on Saturday gets me to 21 degrees in the sunshine. So I'm doing that this weekend.
I hope you do. That sounds good. Let's jump right into this in the spirit of speed dating. Let's talk about your workshop. What are you bringing to HypnoThoughts Live this year?
Okay, so I'm bringing to HypnoThoughts Live 7 links to a change reaction. This is a technique that I've developed over the last 15 years. And I kind of like it like a piece of theater, really. It's like I set people up with what's going to happen. They tell me what they want to do, what they want to achieve from it. And we find out actually who it is that's editing their mind. We all have an editor as far as I'm concerned. Mine was, I'm dyslexic, I only found out recently, and it kept me feeling as though I couldn't say what I wanted to feel. And I felt intimidated in company where people I appeared or thought had a better education. So it's finding the editor. And how we do that is I've devised 8 questions where the editor can't hide because it will expose a fake reaction, an imposter reaction. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to use these 8 questions. And when applied, there can only be a yes and a no answer. Anything other than that, and that's the old imposter raising its false, ugly head. And we're going to get hold of that. And then we move on to the next part of the sequence. So that's the first thing we're going to learn on the Thursday day's workshop.
So as I was, putting together all the pre and post conference stuff with Stephanie, we were really struck by the portability of your description. Your 7 links, 8 questions. Like this is a concise, digestible thing. What is it, and without giving too much away, what is it in the process that you're doing on Thursday with the students so that we know they're going to take it with them and be able to use it, with their clients right away?
Okay, so we'll be using, we'll be doing demonstrations there. I will be showing them the technique. So there are 8 questions which will reveal the imposter syndrome. There are 7 stages to the piece of theater, as it were. And so each piece will fit in using different areas of hypnosis, non-traditional. So I'll get the client, for example, just to say, okay, well, this is what I want to do. This is what's affecting me in my life. This is what's getting in the way of me being what I could be. And so we ask the questions. And then what I always say is, hey, look, you've been suffering for however long it is, something you never did. And so we expose it, and then we say, okay, well, just asking the 8 questions, and this is what's really interesting, breaks the back of it. It breaks the thought process. It breaks the neurological process.
So the awareness of it. So as soon as that person becomes aware of it, it breaks it?
Incredibly. I had someone in today who was he's been sent by his wife. I said, you don't want to be here, do you? He said, no, I don't. I don't believe in this sort of stuff, but my marriage is at stake, so she's forced me to come. So he said, there's nothing wrong with me, it's her. I said, that's really odd. I hear that quite a lot. And we got chatting away, and he said, look, he started, there were words coming out, and he said, it's like a time bomb inside, that subconscious voice that comes out. And I said, whoa, you have nothing really going on inside, but there's a time bomb. I said, that's interesting. So I said, well, I started asking him the questions, and he couldn't answer them without he couldn't use yes or no. And I said, do you see what's happening here? He said, yeah, I never thought of it. I said, it's interesting, isn't it? He said, yeah, there's something going on, isn't there? I said, yeah, there is something going on. It's the start of you getting rid of what this is. And so by the end of the question, I said, would you recommend this behavior anyone else that you know? He said, well, no, of course not. I went, oh, right, okay. And yeah, it's okay for you. And you see the eyes going, the change in thought process. And he's going, oh. And I said, to tell you what, close your eyes again and try and get engaged with this issue you had earlier. And he was like, whoa. He said, that's crazy. He said, will it be like that in the future? I said, well, there is no future. There only is a now. So how are you feeling now? And he said, well, it's gone. And I said, okay, so, well, look, we haven't even started the process yet. It's gone. Let's move on and make sure it's really, really gone. And then we go on to the next part. And I'll say something along the lines, which is good. If you've been imprisoned emotionally for something that you've never done, I said, normally, there's a little bit of payback, a little bit of recompense, as they say over here. I said, how is it, instead of feeling what you did feel, how would you like to feel now in place of that old feeling? And he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, how would you like to feel? Well, I'd like to feel happy. Well, you know what happy feels like, don't you? Oh, not for a while. No, I said, no, but you know. And what we'll do is we'll go back in time and find a happy place, and use a revivification technique. And then I'll move on to one of the next parts of the 7 links to a change reaction, which I'll introduce him to through the looking glass technique, which is literally, I'll say, I've got a present for you as a result of payback time. Here's your looking glass. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, here's my hand. Let's put it up keeping your head straight. Let's go up at 2 o'clock there, just with your eyes, and look at your own eyes, feeling this inside. And it really sort of future paces them, but in the future part of the eye. Sure. And it's kind of like burns in on themselves. And you can, and when you start applying the proper technique, you can see it, and you can see them changing physically and emotionally. And, it's like literally they're shaking their heads when they come back. And I leave them with saying, that's when you know you're in charge. And then, so, I mean, you've got people walking, and then I work a lot with the body. So I'll be slipping stuff in the technique as well, which I'll be showing, is how to get the body involved and say, a lot of the problem is this, let's talk to the part that's really in charge, so, and I make it lighthearted, that's the thing for me is whatever it is, you don't want to browbeat them. You don't want to upset them. They've got to have it. They've got to have
the sense I've gotten from your work is that, regardless of how heavy the work is, you bring levity that makes it easier for the client to create that change.
I was called in 3 weeks ago to a hospital, psychological hospital in France. I've got a client who's had incredible anxiety. She's 26 years old. She's been taken out of the country and brought back in. She was hospitalized, and they couldn't do anything with the drugs. And in the end, I had to do a couple of online sessions. And then the head psychiatrist, asked me to go down to the hospital to show them and their hypnotists the technique, because they couldn't work out why every time she came off having visited me, she was so much better. And so I was invited down to show them and show them the technique, because in France, they're pretty rigid. They're pretty good with hypnosis. Every hospital has one. But as with most things in France, if you've got a certificate, that means you can do it, which of course, a local hospital has one. And when people have queued up to go and see them, then they come and see me afterwards. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to be sharing, is what the stages are of this bit of theatre, how you can have fun with it, and how you can make remarkable changes. And each stage of the technique affects a different part. And what's great about it is there's no resistance, because I'm not asking the clients to do anything. So there's no traditional hypnosis technique where they're going to go, I might block you. I said, don't worry about that. That doesn't happen. So you get around having to get them to be involved in that way, where they feel they have to do something. Very quick story. When I was over doing my first ever visit to the hypnosis conference last year, I am so naive. I just don't know anyone. And it's, I had a few people come and see it, which is fantastic. And one woman afterwards was just saying, oh, I was really interested. I'm really interested in that. And then I saw her again the next day, and she said, "Oh, I tried your technique on my mate, and it really pissed her off." And I said, "Oh, great, thanks for the feedback." I said, "Well, where is your friend?" She said, "Oh, she's here." I said, "Well, do you want me to show her?" So I spoke to a friend, and a friend said, "Like, yes, I do, but I'd like to try, but I've tried with a lot of hypnotists. I know a lot of hypnotists, and I will block you. And I'm saying that, and I don't want to, but I will do." I said, I know. Anyway, so I was chatting away with her, and I was talking about feelings and stuff and how she felt. And she went, "Oh, you're in, aren't you?" So she, yeah, here's Johnny.
Yeah, there it is.
And we had a good time. And she broke into tears at the end of it. And she said, "Oh, it's gone. They've been there for all these years." Anyway, I got back to France, and I saw some photos. And I saw this woman who'd seen the technique, and it was Cheryl Elman. I had no idea. Mr. Nye.
Yeah, Cheryl Elman. Yeah, she's learning hypnosis.
Yeah, she said. Yeah, I said, if there's anything you want to know as a newbie.
The Elmans have been stealing my stuff for a long time. So Larry's father was ripping me off before I was born. It's really unfair that he gets the credit for my hard work.
You want to ask my father about that, and his father.
Exactly.
Same story.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I think there's a couple things that I think you've done a wonderful job, but just to succinctly share like my take very, very briefly. Like I said, there's a levity, there's a conversational component of that, and that's very disarming to people who have a lot of stuff built up. And I think that it's wonderful stuff, and we're thrilled that you're going to be with us this summer at HypnoThoughts Live. So to those of you who are watching this video, thanks for watching. Matt, thank you for being here and sharing just a little bit, this quick little vignette. And anybody who saw this and said, "Hey, that's interesting, I want to learn more," if you go to htlive.net, our website, you go to the pre and post conference section, there's more information right there on Matt's courses and the workshops. So you can make the right informed decision and look at all the different classes and figure out what's going to help you help more people the best. And so that's what we're doing here. And thank you guys for taking these few minutes to be part of this speed dating, this time with me and Matt. Thanks to all of you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.